we hear about like campus crimes, so I was not going to talk about it, but if we are applying to public universities, then like our visa chance gets affected, or let's say the visa officer is likely to reject us. So is there anything like such? ठिक छ थम्बनेल हेरेर आइसक्नु भएको छ होला हैन सबैजना भ्युअर्सहरु say we are going to talk about public research university today. So today we have a very special guest, I know, Mr. Chaitanya Raj Shah, who got into one of the finest public research university, and it's none other than Florida International University. So before this, I have never uploaded any videos related to public research university. As my first video in the channel, you can see that it was about liberal arts college, what is liberal arts college and how to apply to it. And then I slowly moved towards Ivy League and then some research university. But today I have brought you a special guest who would be talking about his journey and his experience in applying to public research university. So please, Chaitanya, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Chaitanya Raj Shah. I completed my secondary education in Little Angels and my A levels from St. Xavier's College. I started my application way back in 2023 fall 2023 cycle, and I applied to multiple universities then too. And I, because I did not get a viable offer then, I had to take a gap year and apply for the 2024 intake. And thankfully, I got into several universities, and FIU was the best fit choice for me. And as Suvam said, there are not many videos about public universities. Many people make videos about liberal arts and top universities, but no one seems to be talking about public universities, even though they have generous aid and so much to offer.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's due to the lack of information about public research universities that they hesitate to apply. Or, there are some myths as well. We will be talking about it later in the video. But, first of all, I would like to begin with the very first question. Like, when did you actually thought about applying to US? Was it in grade 10, or when you explored it during your A levels? Or what was the motive behind applying to US universities?
Actually, till grade 10, I had no idea about applying abroad. So I just wanted to do CA in India. But when I joined A levels, the scope certainly increased. We had a counselor who told us about all the universities we could apply abroad. And all my friends were talking about applying somewhere in the world, be it Canada, Australia, or the US. I just looked at the curriculum. And because I myself am not certain what I intended to do, I wanted something flexible. So I looked into US and I couldn't find a more flexible curriculum than that was offered in the US. So I started my university search, I would say, in my 12th grade and mid of 12th grade.
Many people, they know about US universities in high school in Nepal because they wanted to apply to abroad, but they are just confused. But at last, they finally decide that US is the most viable solution because it offers generous financial aid, and we can have good career in US as well after the studies. So another question is, why Florida International University? Like, what is the reason behind choosing Florida International Universities out of I think you applied to 35 universities, right?
Yes, that is correct. So actually, I got into even better universities than FIU, but solely based on US ranking, even in like top 50 to 60 range. So even though I got into better universities, even like UT Dallas, not specifically better, but UT Dallas, Florida State University, and others, uh, for me personally, being in a city was more important. So that's why, even though Florida State University was also a viable option for me, but it was in a remote area. As I'm a business student, for me, being in a city was far more important than the actual ranking, until and unless it deviates too far away. So, and it because it's in Miami, it has a vibrant culture, it has a great financial hub, it is a great tourist area, and it's a booming economy. It's one of the only few cities in the US that's doing great, even though it's in a recession. So Miami was the obvious choice for me, and also because of the generous scholarship they gave me, and because they accepted me into their honors program.
Okay, so would you mind to share the slides that you have presented for today about the Florida International University about its specific requirements?
Okay, sure. I'll be sharing them right away. So, specifically for Florida International University, there are two scholarships available for international students: the Presidential Premier and the Ambassador Premier. And uh, the requirements are not that high. You just need a 1370 or on the SAT, or 2080, 1280 on the SAT. And both the scholarships are very good because the tuition amount itself is not that high. It's just around 20,000 per annum. So even if you receive the 75% scholarship, you'll have great options because the tuition would just be 5,000 per year. And the one thing about getting the scholarship at FIU is that it has some strange requirements. Like, you need to be admitted by November 15th, for which you need to submit your application by October 15th, and even send out your stat scores by then. So, like, you basically need to have a complete application where your stat scores are received by November 1, so that you get a decision by November 15th. And people may not apply because of the 4.0 GPA requirement. It's in terms of 4.0 GPA in the US. If you have a GPA above 3.2 or 3.4 in Nepal, I think that will equate to 4.0, because they changed the GPA. Because a friend of mine had mostly B's in her A levels, but still got the Presidential Premier Scholarship. Uh, and her GPA was actually 4.4 when she talked to a counselor. So just because of this requirement, don't be afraid to apply to this university. The other requirements are pretty generic. You must be a first year. That's what most of the audience is, I believe, and have two letter of recommendation and submit two essays. The essays will be about, one about a personal growth time when you face a difficulty, and the other would be about your most laudable achievement. Apart from that, that's basically the process. And you also need to send in your resume, and that's it. You just have to wait, and hopefully you get the scholarship.
My next question is, what's the most distinguishing like factor between private university and public university? What's the main difference? And after getting admitted as well, like what sort of differences will be international students seeing between those two different category of universities?
Okay, interesting question. Generally speaking, like, the difference is clear. Like, public universities are funded by the state. That's pretty obvious. And on average, public universities tend to be larger in terms of population than private universities. Like, the population can be as high as 55,000, even 60,000 in some cases, which is not usually the case in the case of private universities. And because there are these so many universities, such large population, there are some unique majors as well, which are not usually provided in many private universities. Like, for example, accounting, I don't think is provided in most top universities, or even most business degrees at undergraduate level. They are not provided at undergraduate level. I'm talking about like most top private universities. There might be private universities that do offer them, but I personally did not find many that did. Uh,
Yeah, okay.
these are the differences I know of.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. So like, and this is just my general question. Like this is my perception. So, I
Okay.
when we hear about like campus crimes, so like, I was not going to talk about it, but the thing is, wherever there is very huge population, there are lots of accidents, right? Like like one of the major reason why student tends to go into a small classroom size is the thing like, there is a proper on-campus safety, I can say like that, and they can know the faculty very well. They can, if I talk about liberal arts college as well, there are just 25 students in a single class, where they will get to know about lots of like with each other, like the students and with the faculty members as well. And there are less incidents of such crime or anything like, let's say, which is not appropriate, or let's say illegal activities. What I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but I think you just get the sense.
I got your point. Actually, Shivam, I'm really thankful that you brought this up. because it's frankly speaking about the classroom sizes. It's actually I would say it's a myth, because I have booked my classes and there are a few classes. Like I have booked six classes in total, out of which four of my class, like two of my classes are just 15 students per class,
Wow.
and the others are either 30 or 35, and only one class I believe is around 80 students in a classroom. So the class sizes even in public universities is small. Like, yeah, there is the perception, because there are large number of students, the classroom sizes must be humongous. Like, there are classes that are huge, some with even 150 students, but they are very limited classes which are that large in sizes. Most classes in even in public universities are pretty small. Roughly, like the average I believe is around 30. The average class size for most classes is around 30. So even in public universities, one has the opportunity to connect with the professor. And I believe, like, there is an advantage, because like, because you can connect with so many people on campus itself. So many people from so many backgrounds will be there. And in regards to campus safety, from what I know, the campuses all across, whether be it public or private, are generally very safe. But yeah, in terms of absolute number, likely there are more instances in public universities. But in relative terms, proportionate to population, I think it evens out.
Yeah, exactly. So I just asked that question like out of nowhere. It was just a random question. But the thing is, like there tends to be more such incidents where there are lots of students. So if we look into the proportion, then that's actually quite similar. So we don't need to, be afraid of it. And another myth that I wanted to get clear today, I wanted to ask today is, if we are applying to public universities, then like our visa chance gets affected, or let's say the visa officer is likely to reject us. So is there anything like such?
Definitely not. Like if you go to a very poorly ranked university, acceptance rate, like it has graduation rate of 15%, 20%, 30%, then obviously, be it public or private, you will have bad chances. But if you go to a good public university, the chances are not different from anyone going to a private university of like similar ranking or similar standing.
Okay.
It doesn't make a difference to them, actually.
Yeah, like I actually posted, I did a community post in YouTube just before our virtual webinar, and there was a question in comment section that will my chance get affected if I go with the I-20 of public university. So yeah, like as you have made it clear, like it totally depends on the graduation rate and the ranking, or let's say the status of the university, because if it's poor, then they don't want you to go to US, because like the students who are going with the I-24 university, their intention is generally to work there in an illegal way. So they are not actually going to read or study there. So, and another question is, like, if some students have already gone to US through consultancies, or they were not, they were not able to reach to a very good ranked university. They are in bad condition right now, and they wanted to transfer to the public universities. So, what's the procedure involved in it?
Okay. So there are like two simple processes. So, like if you have completed an year there at a university, you can just simply transfer to a public universities, and maybe you and hopefully get a scholarship. But there is a more certain way that most people, like of which I know of, my seniors and like friends of my seniors who use the other way. Uh, so like what most people not I not that I know personally, but I know of, do is they go to the first semester. If they do not like in the university, let's say Texas A&M Texarana in some village location, not college station, they do not like it there, they usually transfer to a community college which has ties with public universities. Generally they do, and study 2 years or roughly 60 credits of 120 required there, and then transfer to it. For example, one that I specifically know of is Dallas College in Dallas. Let's say one transferred to Dallas College and maintains a high GPA there. maintaining a high GPA at community college is very easy because uh, it's not very competitive at a community college. Like most students are just there casually. So you'll have you'll likely score a high GPA, which most Nepalese do, and they have assured pathways to get into good institutes like UT Dallas, UT Arlington, and they do not have a assured program to Texas A&M. But although there are many students from Dallas College who do transfer out there as well. For UT Dallas, UT Arlington, they have assured programs, and after completing 2 years, 2 years in the US, they can transfer to these universities. So if someone is having difficulties in their universities and really want to go to a better university, then this could be one of the pathways for you. Each state has a different requirement. Do get in touch with seniors via LinkedIn or just by visiting the community college and ask them, because these information are not generally available on the website. I got to know these because one of my senior did this, and a friend of mine who went to Spring confirmed this information as and is now transferring to Dallas College and later plans to transfer to UT Dallas.
So
Mm.
yeah, as we have got to know about FIU and like frequently asked question about public universities, we are interested to know more about such universities. If you have brought any, like the description of the universities, their procedure, and other scholarships that we can apply as an Nepalese student.
Okay, there are definitely many of them. Uh, I would like to start by the. Should I share my slides as well? Right.
Yeah, exactly. You can share your slides.
Okay, so there are, yes, there are several such universities. I have like put some in my slides. I'll just show them to you. So one specifically is the University of Texas system as a whole. In most of these universities, be it University of Texas at Dallas, at Arlington, University of Houston, Texas State University, or basically almost any public university in the state of Texas, you get an automatic out of state waiver if you get $1,000 or in some cases $4,000 per year merit based scholarship. If you get this, you get the out of state waiver. And once you have the out of state waiver, the tuition amount drops significantly because as many of you know, the in-state tuition amount is usually way less than the out of state one. And even for this, the requirements are there are high requirements for higher scholarships, but just to get the waiver and some scholarship, the requirements are not that high. For in the case of this is for University of Texas at Arlington, it's just a 1280 on the SAT to get the Maverick Academic Scholar, which is roughly 4,000, which is roughly 1,000 to $8,000 annually. And if you get the total amount $8,000, your tuition is just $3,000 to $4,000 annually, which is really affordable in a city like Texas, as you can get on campus jobs and there is a vibrant Nepali community there. So the process for other universities like UT Dallas or University of Houston or Texas State University is also quite similar. They have the requirements. Some requirements have requirements higher than others. And but in the end, if you get the scholarship of 1,000 or the required amount, you will get out of state waiver and it will generally become affordable option for you. These are the options. And also there another is University of Alabama. Like this also has guaranteed scholarships if you have specific SAT scores, and yeah, like it's guaranteed. But one thing you need to be careful while applying to these universities are the specific conditions. Like there are some conditions that like really mess up the way your application works.
Okay, so after seeing this list of universities, so what is the main factor that increases our chance of getting a scholarship, or is there any specific way or your suggestions that will likely increase our chances for this scholarship?
Okay, in case of these universities, actually, there are like surprisingly a lot of catches while applying to these scholarships, which I only got to know like after I had applied. And honestly speaking, those were surprising for me as well. So one thing I found that was that if one applies early, he even though he or she might have a lower SAT score, worse, like not a worse, but not so good essay, but still get a scholarship, which I found really surprising. Like this I found to be the case with a friend I have in Nepal who had applied to who had also applied to UT Dallas. He applied in September. Another friend of mine also applied in September. Both of them, even though like speaking by stats, they had like lower stats than me. Because they applied in September, they actually got much more, much like almost a full tuition scholarship at like UT Dallas. Because just because not, I'm not saying that their application was bad, but because they applied early, they definitely had an advantage. Since I applied in December, I only got I still had around 8,000 tuition to pay at UT Dallas, which I found to be surprising. And this holds true for all other many public universities as well. Same for University of Houston, and like I've talked to people who applied early and who applied late. There are deadlines, but my recommendation would be don't wait for the deadlines and apply as soon as you can, even in September or October, to maximize your chances of scholarships. And like the other point is that make sure your application is complete. A friend of mine had a problem when he had not explained the gap year properly. So, University of South Florida, after making him wait roughly 3 months, asked him to state the details of his gap year, due to which he got a decision only 6 months later. So, don't make such mistakes.
Okay, so yeah, like, would you like to go through other points of recommendations as well?
Okay. So, as I had said earlier, in case of public universities, they usually, even though they say the process is holistic, it's actually like basically just mainly your academics. If your academics is good, if you have good grades and GPA and SAT scores, you'll likely get the scholarship. This I found out like the harsh way. One, because like so many of us from our college were applying, just because one of my friends had I believe a D in his grade 9, he did not get scholarship from Florida State University, which was surprising, even though his other application was amazing. So like make sure your academics are up to point, and other recommendations are simple. Just use your, when you give the SAT, make sure you send your 4 free SAT scores. And in public university, sometimes in the photo below, there is a to-do list. Until and unless the to-do list is complete, your application might not move forward based on the university. In some it might, in some it might not. But if you can try to make sure that the holds are gone. They usually just ask for transcripts and other documents based on of your application. So these are my general recommendations while applying to these public universities. And a few other universities that are these universities, you could apply to these. Some are like, some have higher requirements than others, but these are all great universities.
Like, just to make it clear that academics matters a lot if you are applying for merit scholarship, because merit means the scores that you achieved, how did you used to perform in your class, like what kind of grades, how much courses did you take, how rigorous was your course. But if you are applying for financial aid, let's say like many private universities, they offer financial aid to international students, because like international students are not eligible to get the federal uh, aid, I guess. So there is
Yes.
federal aid, Pell grants, if I'm not wrong, and they are just like the US citizen or the US students, they can just get it. So if you are applying for the financial aid and you want your demonstrated need to be met, then the holistic application is used, because it's not solely based on your grades and academics, as I mentioned earlier. Because that thing can be, the same with many students, but the thing that matters, that sets out from all the student, is your essay, LOR. What does your teacher say about you, and what are your additional information? How did you present yourself, and why do they think that you deserve the scholarship, you deserve the financial aid? So there is a lot of difference between merit scholarship and financial aid. So Chaitanya, I wanted to ask you if there are any other scholarships, because I think you know about the departmental scholarships or the scholarships which are competitive. So do you have any idea of them?
Yes, each university actually has like several. There is an automatic scholarship which has a general application, and some don't have an application. For most of the ones in the Texas system, they do not have a separate application. But actually, there are several other scholarships that like even international students qualify to apply for, which as like generally has a separate application. You need to maybe write an essay, make a video, or like something of that sort. And like you can check on the university website itself. And also, one thing I would recommend, because these universities are very large, you should try to get in their honors college or honors program, which generally has more opportunities for research, more opportunities for scholarship, and like several other advantages like uh, priority class registrations. Like if you are in a school with 45,000 students, you would want to get the like best classes first, right? So priority registration will help you to choose classes prior to your classmates who are not in the honors college. So you should submit an honors college application when you submit your application as well. Some might have requirement to like be admitted first, then submit, but do submit the honors college application. Here, because the reason I got to apply to only 8 universities, because in the 1 month I was searching, I was like I did not know anything. There were so many universities to like source from, and like if you sort the best university, just the top universities come up, and like that's not a viable option for most students. So like, what do I need to actually do? So anyone applying, do really go through this list, because there are top universities, but there are then not so competitive universities that give great aid to many international students as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not actually just found in the surface of the Google, but you have to dig up into it, like go to Quora or Reddit and see the questions that you wanted to ask them questions. They are really helpful, because there are lots of alumni from the college that you are targeting to get into, and they will be sharing your experience, resources. So the thing is, we have to have that enough dedication and commitment, and consistency as well, because it's not work of a single day. You have to invest a lot of time. So if you want to get into some university with full tuition, full ride scholarship, then you have to actually invest your time, do enough research, hardworking, and then you actually think that you deserved it, and then you will get the real test of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And one like great advice a senior gave to me, which I believe I should share, is that yes, universities rankings do matter a lot, but like if the cost is high, even if it's 30K, and like you got into a university, decently ranked university with the cost of attendance of 16K or 17K, uh, like he recommended, specifically what he recommended to me was at the time I had gotten into UT Dallas and UT Arlington. UT Arlington, I had almost a full tuition plus something extra, but UT Dallas, because I had 8K tuition, and he was the student at UT Dallas. But he recommended me to go to UT Arlington because if I have less financial burden, I will have more time to explore and research. And uh, generally, until and unless like it's a very bad university, you should opt for the one that is most financially viable one for you, because in the end the difference in the experience is in the scale of 100 is I believe 90 to 95 of a top university to a mid or decent university.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Chaitanya, for clarifying this. Okay, so now we have come to the end of our podcast, you know. I wanted to ask you your final advice, or your what did you reflect? What are your insights that you got from your college application cycle, and what are the suggestions that you want to give to the prospective students?
Okay. Like, let's say you are a great student, and let's say if you are a bad student, like for me, I would say applying to public universities was the best choice because in terms of private university, I don't think there are any safeties, good safeties, because me, alongside with many of my friends, actually, a friend of mine got rejected from all universities, but like got into New Jersey Institute of Technology with almost a full ride scholarship. Same for a friend who got into Florida State University, and then another who got into University of Alabama. So, like, even though we had great stats, like nothing is guaranteed in the US application process. So, if you really want a safety as an international student, as a good international student, then public universities are for you. And even for like not bad students, but students who did academic not did not do academically so well, apply to like public universities which have lower requirements. You will get you will likely get generous scholarship even if you have a 1200 or a 1300 on the SAT. So in general, for great students, have at least 3 or 4 safeties in such universities, and for students who are struggling, then to apply to this university by making your application as unique as possible. And I would say make sure that like everything is reflected on your application, because and let your teacher or your friend read your entire application, and like likely they will tell you what is missing. Because even for me, I did not know that I was missing so many things until my friend told me, okay, but you are even this, like, okay, yeah, I, because it like because it occurs so naturally to you, you forget many things about yourself. So another that's the other thing that I would say. And don't apply like to the US alone. Like I just mean to say, do research like with a few friends, because even for me, I had two great friends whom I did research with, which made the process a lot easier. And be assertive. Try to ask like universities for things. They are generally very generous. For example, most universities require a deposit, right, for to get like the I-20 or the admission. For me, I just like I was having difficulties in the payment. I just like send them a email saying I'm having difficulties. Can you waive off my admission deposit? They waived it out off for me and even my friend. And like, so the US is very generous. You just need to ask. So don't be afraid of asking. Like initially, yeah, even I was afraid to like write a single email. But now, like I could write an email to 10, two professors and other departments, even housing department, to ask the even of smallest of questions, because they are there to help you. Understand that they want the best students, and you need to like you are the best student for them. You need to think of yourself like that, and they are for your convenience. So use their help. They are very helpful. And if you ask, almost anything is possible. So take advice from seniors, teachers, and watch Subham's videos. I like looked at his videos about the SATs. They were great, and even liberal arts colleges. They are very insightful. And these are it, I believe.
Okay, thank you very much, Chaitanya, for being here and sharing your experience. It was really, really insightful. I think many of the students will be benefited from it. So, yeah, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.